how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Yes, we're doing another artist trading card. I know it's only been 2 videos since the last one, but they're so fun and I have so many characters and you guys seem to like them. So here's number 4. Let's draw. So as you guys can see, I'm starting the normal way I do in that horrible sketchbook that I hate so much, but is perfect for just sketching out basic ideas like who I'm gonna draw for my artist trading card. And as you might be able to tell, yes, this time it's a boy. Oh my gosh, what? You draw boys? I know, right? This is one of actually my favorite characters. His name is Agrias, which if you didn't know from playing extensive Animal Crossing is a butterfly. I didn't actually know that when I first named him. Me and my friends did a weird thing where we made giant lists of different animals and plants and things, and then we would take turns picking like from the list of which names we want, and then we would make characters off of the names. That way we wouldn't make characters with the same name. And so when one of my friends made this list, or I guess that list since it was in the past, I picked the name Agrias for my selection of names. And I don't really know where it went from there, but he was born. I don't know. I made a lot of characters back in the day, so I can't really remember a good half of them. But he definitely was one of the ones that mattered a lot to me, so I kept him around for a really long time, as you can see, because I'm still drawing him today. And just to get back to the drawing, I digress. In the first little drawing, you can see I just did his waist up, and I didn't even do his second arm because I kind of already knew what he looked like, and I didn't really care to draw his full body. But you can also see he has horns. This is because he's a bull dude. He can transform into a bull whenever he wants, and sometimes he can just get his horns out, you know, to look threatening and such things. I don't know. It's one of his features, so I decided to include it because I wanted to get as much in about him that I could, because I'm trying to do that for all my characters on the artist trading cards, is just to have at least, you know, a few of their like key components. And because I couldn't get really like most of his down, I figured that horns would be a good one to keep in. And I honestly don't have much to say about the whole drawing experience this time around, so if you're curious, I'll tell you a little bit about him. It seems like quite a few of you actually like learning about the characters and like knowing why I made them and what they're about and stuff. And I like talking about it sometimes, so, you know, for the few people who do like it, I'll talk about him for you. And for the few people who don't, I'm sorry. You can watch other videos where I don't. I promise I don't talk about people too much, so hopefully this is actually a little refreshing instead. So, like I said already, his name is Agrias. He grew up with just his dad, who was a mechanic, where he learned most of his, you know, mechanical skills, I guess you could call them. I'm not really sure what to say for that. But yeah, he kind of grew up fixing cars and spending a lot of time doing that because he is kind of outcasty, I guess. You know, he didn't really get along with people too great, and he was just kind of an angry kid in general, so he didn't want to get along with people too great, so he spent a lot of time like on his own, just like learning and trying to become, you know, better at being a mechanic, thinking that might be what he wants to do with his life. So he kind of grew up doing that, got a job as a mechanic when he was, I want to say like 16-ish. Not quite sure, haven't fleshed out that little detail. But then later on in life, he met a girl and realized that he actually wanted to be an orthodontist. Such a weird story and character, I know, but basically, after meeting her and low-key falling in love with her without her knowing, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to become an orthodontist to impress her. So he spent years in college studying his little butt off to be an orthodontist, even though he's not a typical book-smart type dude. He pushed himself through it and tried really hard and got through like the medical school and all that to become one, and as of now, he's currently training under someone's wing as an orthodontist, but I include that little detail later because I wasn't even sure how to include it in the drawing, but I include it later in his the
joint smoke. I wrote, "You're bleeding because you don't floss," because I thought that would be funny. It doesn't fit or match any of the other trading cards, but I thought it would be funny and I wanted to do it, so I did anyway, so peep out for that. Getting back onto the subject of him, because he was such like an angry kid, and teen and stuff, he just got in fights with everyone like constantly, like all the time. He even went to juvie a couple times for little things here and there, but basically he was just super aggressive constantly until he met his dog. It was a 3-legged pit bull mix named Shark. That he named Shark, obviously. And then he met his girlfriend Gwen, and since then he's chilled out a lot and become kind of a good person.
What's she doing in the middle of the video, you might ask yourself? Well, here's the answer. I'm sorry. I couldn't line this on camera. It just took way too long and there were so many little details I had to get my head right in front of. And because I assumed you guys didn't want to see my fat head in the screen, I didn't record it because I just figured it'd be way easier to just do this and say, "Hi, nice to see you again. Welcome to the middle of the video. Thanks for watching so far." Yeah, I hope you don't mind too much. Let me know if you actually really do care about the like pen lining, and I can try and keep doing that in the videos. Yeah, because I don't really know what you guys want to see necessarily, or like which ones you care about, which ones you don't, but I figured that I would just cut out the line work for this one and you guys could enjoy the sketching and the coloring. I hope that's okay with you guys. Let me know if you don't like it so much so I can switch back to the normal. Okay, that's all. Enjoy the rest.
So moving on to the coloring, as you can see, I'm using my Copics again like usual. I don't have much to talk about this time around because it's the same situation pretty much. The only thing I kind of did differently in this one was I gave him flannel, and I'll talk more about that when I actually get to that part where I'm drawing the flannel, but yeah, for the most part, just enjoy some coloring. Oh, I forgot to add this. You see the little black sploogey spludge thing on his shirt and hands? That's supposed to be oil to like hint at the like mechanic thing. I don't know how to draw oil. I don't know if it would look like that. I'm pretty sure it's more of like a dark brown color. I didn't think about it too much while I was drawing it. I was like, yeah, and this will be oil, and then realized later that it doesn't look like oil pretty much at all. But the idea was that it's supposed to be oil from working on cars and stuff in his little long sleeve underneath the flannel. And the reason he's wearing a flannel over a long sleeve, even though it's probably like 60 something degrees out, is because he's constantly cold. That's like one of his weird character traits that, you know, all characters have, I guess. He's just constantly cold, and he usually is wearing like a good 3 or 4 layers. His favorite environment is definitely like the sun, and he would totally live in like Ecuador if his girlfriend wanted to. But he does not, so he's constantly chilly. And then here, as you can see, I'm coloring in a flannel. And the reason I decided to do it blue instead of the classic red is because I don't have very many reds. So it didn't work out like color-wise. So I just went for blue. But his general character, like I would say his main colors are blue and red, like the butterfly he's named after. And as you can see, I also didn't change his name. That's because I was thinking of changing his name into something normal like I've been trying to do with all my characters, but honestly I just can't think of any name that fits him more than just Agrius, and I think it's kind of cute because it's kind of showing like, I mean, it doesn't sound like a cute butterfly, you know, it kind of sounds like a tough dude, and then when you find out what it is, you're like, oh, it's a butterfly, which is kind of like how he is. He's a dick, and then you're like, oh, he's actually just kind of a nice dude. So I don't know, I thought it was like the most fitting name out there, and I couldn't think of anything better, so I'm just gonna go with it, you know. I just feel like that's kind of a mood. Also, another thing is I did use a reference for the pattern of a flannel. I have a flannel sitting in my closet that I was glancing over at. So whenever you're not sure about like, you know, how some things look, it's totally okay to use a reference. And if you have one in front of you, that's super helpful too. I didn't do the flannel great because most flannels, I'm pretty sure, do not have stripes that thin and that close together. They're usually bigger, but because, you know, flannels can come in a large variety, I thought it would be okie dokie to do that. And it looks a little goofy, but at the same time, I also kind of love it. So, whatevs. So like I said before, his colors are blue and red, like generally. So I decided to make the outside of his card a reddish color called terracotta. Also, last little thing, it has nothing to do with the drawing, is that I wanted to let you guys know that I decided on naming the girl from the last video Zara, because I figured Ebony would be a good name for her best friend instead. And I thought that Zara was very fitting for her. So thanks everyone who commented. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope you like my choice and agree with me.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below which one of the 4 is your favorite so far. Yeah, I hope you guys had fun drawing with me. Now, moving on to my outfit of the week.